Hey folks, how you doing? It it has been said that in Scripture there is a good bit of astronomy in religious scriptures and in the mythology. The Kimite mythology, yes, has a lot of astronomy in it. We'll uncover some of it. And not only that, when it is in these scriptures, it has an application to the human being. It's not just there. It tells us something. Okay. So, in the Kimite mythology, there is a speaker who says that he is the primary power of motion and rest. Okay? Now, what we can do right here is to show a relationship, a comparison between what that person said in the mythology and what science uses to explain, let's say, the expansion of the universe, or the proof that the universe is expanding. It is called red shift. Well, we've probably heard of it. Okay? So red shift has to do with rest and motion. Okay? So as a person stands on planet Earth, we assume that that's a rest. He's resting. And he's watching a galaxy or a star, okay, as it recedes away into the dark universe. Okay? But after so long, after covering so much distance, that planet, or excuse me, that star or galaxy appears to turn red, or it turns red. That is, the light coming from it turns red. You see, okay? So anyway, scientists take this as proof or an explanation that our universe is expanding. That redness tells us that that galaxy or star is moving away from planet Earth. Or it has to do with the expansion of the stars and planets. They expand in the universe. Okay. So now we see that we have motion and we have rest. The person standing on Earth is at rest, and that galaxy is receding into the universe. It's moving away. So that's motion. You see, so we see a comparison between what that person said in the mythology, or what the mythology states about the power of the primary power of motion and rest. Okay, we see the same thing going in that theory that is used to explain or prove that the universe is expanding. Now, if the universe is expanding, then there is something about the human being, since we're here in this universe, that is expanding also. What is it? Let's say that it is knowledge. Knowledge expands, or that is, we uncover more and more knowledge. So that's an expansion of knowledge. Okay. So this has to do with motion. Okay. But well, what about the rest? Something's got to be at rest here in order for us to continue with this comparison. Well, it is the inner being, the true self. Our true self is at rest, at peace all the time. Okay. And the knowledge expands. Our knowledge hopefully expands. We uncover more knowledge. We get wiser. Okay? But wait a minute. That true self, that being within us, okay, is called Hetep. one of its names. Hetep or Hotep. It's a place of peace. In fact, it's like a garden of peace and rest, etc. Well, that's our true being. That's in us. You know, we ignore it quite often. We're too busy to pay attention to the fact that it's there, but that's okay. We will continue on. We have a comparison here because there is a huge aspect, really, of astronomy in all religions. You just have to uncover it. But so here we have Hetep in the Kimite situation. Okay. And we have Eden in the Hebrew or Judeo-Christian situation in the Bible. We have the Garden of Eden. In the Kimite situation, we have the Garden of Hetep, peace and rest. Okay. Now, let me add that in the Judeo-Christian situation, they have a flaming sword that goes round and round and round that protects the Garden of Eden. Well, that is telling us that the Garden of Eden is inviolate. You can't change it, you can't destroy it, you can't take it away. It is inviolate. It can't be violated. Okay? That's what the sword tells us. Okay? But as mentioned, it is our true being that will be with us throughout life and forever. It can't be violated. You see? But this is a point of rest. Okay? And from rest and silence, knowledge comes forth. Like when a person experiences an epiphany, a sudden realization of something. It comes out of silence. And not only that, it usually surprises the person. Oh, yeah, see, he came out of silence. He didn't figure it out, I'm saying. Figuring and thinking is noise. It's not silence, really. And yeah. In mythological tradition or religious tradition, thinking is noise. So you need silence, okay, peace and rest in order for knowledge to come forth. You see. And so how do we get this, how do we intentionally get this knowledge to come forth? Rhythm. You see. We can approach the true being within us through rhythm. It can be done through rhythmic breathing. Rhythmic breathing can put us in a state of peace, quiet, rest, pleasure. Oh, that's the garden. That's Hetep, and that is the Garden of Eden. It's always there in us, you see. What we want to do, though, is expand knowledge. Well, how do we get that done? You know what I mean? When we approach, usually through some type of rhythm, etc., the true being within us, or Hetep, or Eden, you know what I mean? Like I say, we do it rhythmically, you see. But not only that, we must enter into a state, which rhythm puts us there, helps put us there, a state of what we call silence, no thinking, no figuring something out. That's done before. Okay. So we enter into the state where there's no thinking. But if we enter into that state, well, how can we figure out about this knowledge? Well, we can't think or figure anything out when we enter this state. So therefore, we must do it before time. So we have what we call a will that we can set in motion to take care of this aspect of uncovering the knowledge for us. In other words, we have stated and we have put in motion the will to uncover the knowledge, or for the knowledge that we want to be uncovered. The will take care of that. Now, let's take a person, for example, who is trying to solve a problem. He's trying to solve the problem. He says that he's having the problem with it. He gives up on it and said, get back with it later. He takes his mind off of it. That taking his mind off of it is a form of silence. That is, as far as he's concerned, his brain is not working on that problem. So let's say a week later the person comes back to that problem and bam, he solves it just like that. His will continued working while he took his mind off it and went somewhere else. Taking his mind off it was a form of silence for that particular problem, even though he might have been over somewhere else doing something else. Yeah. But as far as that particular problem is concerned, he had taken his mind off of it. But he had been trying to solve it. Okay. And so the will is aware of that. It's within us. It continued working on the problem while we were off doing something else. And so the solution came to us when we went back to it like an epiphany. Bam, just like that. Oh, yeah, now I got it. Now I understand. He solved the problem without even making an effort after he had gave up on it, you know. But his will was working on it. His efforts to solve the problem, okay, brought in his will to work on that problem while he was thinking of something else. That's the only way the will usually going to do it. Because there's no interference, because he went off doing something else. He wasn't using reasoning relative to solving that problem or anything at that time, because he went on to do something else, forgot about solving the problem for the time being. That gave a clear path for the will, okay, that works in silence, not thinking about the problem, but silence. And the will went on to solve the problem for him. Let's see. So now we see this idea of motion and rest. We have brought it from the cosmic arena into our mystical selves. Yeah, we're mystics. Okay. To show that a principle is the same across all planes of becoming. The principle that was used there to explain the expansion of the universe can also be used within us to uncover knowledge. We can also enter into these states, like I say, through breathing. You can be walking, you can be driving, you can be jogging, and through this breathing, whatever you're doing, if it goes into a rhythm, which a lot of times it happens when a person is jogging, okay, person can enter into this state of know things, this state of hetep, and it is here where a knowledge can be uncovered. Okay, folks, I hope this brought some understanding to some scripture and whatnot. Okay, have a good one, and I'll be back with you again. All right, bye-bye.